On this Wednesday night, explosive accusations from inside the White House raise fears of a country in crisis. And the president's angry denials of Bob Woodward's reporting were just the beginning, because from out of the blue, in the black and white of a New York Times op-ed, a similar attack from one of Trump's own. But if an op-ed is unsigned, can it be dismissed as fake?
Also tonight, new details on a stunning poisoning attempt that targeted a former Russian spy and his daughter. Why British officials decided to show the world who they believe did it and how, and why they'll likely never catch them. This is The National.
If there really is a quiet resistance movement against Donald Trump right inside the White House, it is quiet no longer. The blistering op-ed in the New York Times, purportedly written by a senior Trump administration official, calls the president immoral. But the author is no left-wing rebel. He or she also praises deregulation, tax reform, and other achievements. As the CBC's Ellen Morrow tells us, that hasn't blunted a vehement response.
If the failing New York Times has an anonymous editorial, can you believe it? Anonymous, meaning gutless, a gutless editorial.
President Trump's reaction was fast, and it was furious.
When you tell me about some anonymous source within the administration, probably who's failing and probably here for all the wrong reasons, no. And the New York Times is failing.
The stunning op-ed headlined, "I am a part of the resistance inside the Trump administration," is scathing. The senior official behind it calling the president they work for impetuous, adversarial, petty, and his decisions half-baked, ill-informed, and occasionally reckless. So much so, the official writes, that Trump's cabinet considered the 25th Amendment used to remove an unfit president from office. Instead, they say some White House officials have banded together to protect the country from the president himself, writing, "It may be cold comfort in this chaotic era, but Americans should know that there are adults in the room. We fully recognize what is happening, and we are trying to do what's right, even when Donald Trump won't."
Nobody has done what this administration's done.
The president hit back, praising his administration.
The poll numbers are through the roof. Our poll numbers are great. And guess what? Nobody is going to come close to beating me in 2020.
And though blistering, the president may be right about the article's effect, especially with his base and Republican lawmakers continuing to have his back.
In my world, when the New York Times speak, most of us don't listen. Nothing against the paper, but it's sort of seen as the voice of the left.
But that support will do little to ease the president's anger. After the op-ed was posted, Trump tweeted one word: treason. It's hard to imagine the tension inside the West Wing tonight. The White House says whoever wrote the op-ed is a coward who should resign. That person says this so-called resistance is keeping the country safe. Their stunning op-ed is giving more credence to the claims made in Bob Woodward's damning book about the Trump White House, a book that the administration has tried to dismiss as fiction. Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Washington.
So a quick note on sourcing here. The New York Times changed its policy on anonymous sourcing last year, in part as a response to the president's relentless assertion that journalists invent information and attribute it to unnamed sources. Using sources is a rigorous part of journalism, but different types of sources have different names and meanings. An anonymous source is a credible person whose identity and position is known to the journalist, and most often a senior editor. Their identity is protected because there's no other way the information would be available. News organizations do their best to give information about the person without revealing their identity. Case in point, senior official in the Trump administration points you in a direction without outing the source. That's different from an off-the-record source. Information they give cannot be used for reporting directly, and the source cannot be identified. There are background sources. Information from such a person can be used to help guide a journalist, but can't be cited or attributed to someone. All right, let's bring in Keith Bogue from Washington with more on this story. Keith, let's start a little bit with more on the journalistic decision here to publish this op-ed. Pretty astounding, unusual, controversial, I would imagine.
It is. The New York Times is putting its reputation on the line and asking readers to trust its determination that the anonymous source of the op-ed is indeed an administration official so senior that his or her perspective on the administration carries such weight that an op-ed is more valuable than just taking the information and reporting it in the normal way. Now, a former executive editor of the Times, Howell Raines, said tonight that the Times was stepping into the future and developing new ways to fulfill its mission at what he called a time of national crisis.
Okay, national crisis, if that's really what's going on, if that's why the Times has done this, are they right? Is that what's happening?
Yes, they are right. Whether you believe all of what the op-ed says or all of what Bob Woodward's book reportedly says about the dysfunction of the White House and how senior members of the cabinet have to work around Donald Trump's worst impulses, or whether you simply believe that the op-ed is revealing a deliberate and organized effort within the White House to thwart the president's agenda and substitute their judgment for his, the fact is unelected people are claiming that they are undermining the president to protect the country from him. And that's not far off what revolutionaries claim when they're launching a coup d'etat. Now, that's not literally what this is, but yes, it is a crisis.
Just when you thought things couldn't get more incredible, it does. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, amidst all that acrimony, NAFTA talks resumed after a 4-day break. And once again, Canada's Chrystia Freeland briefed the media several times. Friday's NAFTA deadline, the one that Trump imposed, came and went. It's now been extended again. But does that mean time is on Canada's side? Katie Simpson is in Washington for us tonight.
Donald Trump has no problem taking shots at Canada, openly bragging about his power over the fate of NAFTA, as he did today.
If it doesn't work out, that's going to be fine for the country, for our country. It won't be fine for Canada. But we love Canada.
The Prime Minister has resisted returning fire, but in candid comments to an Alberta radio station, he offered up a rare public criticism.
We know we have a president who doesn't always follow the rules as they're laid out.
Because Donald Trump is a rule breaker, Justin Trudeau says Canada must fight to keep an independent dispute resolution system in NAFTA. While that negotiating position is not new, Trudeau's words led to a few awkward moments for the Foreign Affairs Minister, who is renegotiating the trade deal just steps from the White House.
I agree with the Prime Minister in public all of the time and in private 99.99% of the time. And I think those comments, he made some important comments.
The Canadian delegation met with the Americans twice today, with lower-level negotiators ordered to keep talking late into the night if necessary.
The atmosphere continues to be constructive. There is a lot of goodwill on both sides. And for Canada, our focus is on getting a good deal, not just any deal.
Canada won't speculate on how long it may take to get to that good deal. The president, however, leveled a new vague threat, saying he's ready to move forward with or without all 3 NAFTA countries in the next few days.
I'll give you a little surprise as to the name when it's completed, because it may have 2 or it may have 3. We're going to find out pretty soon.
Soon may actually mean the end of the month. There's a new timeline in play here, and negotiators now have until October to finalize the text of a renegotiated agreement. So Canada and the U.S. may take their time.
So it does seem to me, Katie, that sense of urgency we felt all of last week has sort of faded away. Is that the case?
Well, publicly, all sides are saying they're willing to work quickly, and they all agree they were close to a deal last week. But sources predict things are going to slow down behind the scenes.
Okay, Katie Simpson in Washington again tonight. Thank you. Thanks. Justin Trudeau has said there will be no new NAFTA without language exempting this country's cultural sectors. So what does that mean, and why is it really that important?
If the cultural exemptions go, without literature and art, there will be no Canada.
That exemption allows the government to invest in Canada's cultural industries, from the CBC and the National Film Board to grants for newspapers and magazines, and policies on how much Canadian content is played on the radio, even funding for award shows like the Junos. It's all meant to help grow and protect Canada's artists, publishers, and broadcasters.
We're in competition with huge companies south of the border. And so, in Canada, in order to do that work, we need to have investment from the government.
Right now, the U.S. can't trigger a trade challenge to stop Ottawa from subsidizing Canadian producers.
Otherwise, big companies like Disney and Google and Netflix and Amazon and Apple are going to be able to take our governments to court when they feel that they've lost money because we've invested in our own stories. And that simply doesn't make sense.
Canada fought to have this in our original trade deal with the U.S. in the 80s. Most recently, also insisted on cultural protections in our free trade agreements with both the European Union and Pacific nations.
It would be a giving up of our sovereignty and our identity, and that is something that we simply will not accept.
Canada's cultural sector contributes more than $40 billion to the Canadian economy and directly employs 600,000 Canadians. Perhaps another reason why Trudeau says he's prepared to walk away from a deal if cultural protections are eroded in a new NAFTA. So the House isn't back for another couple of weeks, but some good news for you. At Issue is back tomorrow. It's been a really very busy summer of political news, and that means we will have a lot to talk about. With a little more than 1 year to go before the next federal election, the players are heading back to Ottawa, and there's a lot at stake, including the future of NAFTA.
We continue to work hard.
I'm not blaming Canada. I love Canada. I love the people of Canada.
And pipeline politics.
This is Canada. We have natural resources. We need to continue to develop them.
At Issue is back tomorrow with a supersized panel you won't want to miss.
Still ahead on tonight's National, residents of a Toronto high-rise have launched a class action lawsuit 2 weeks after a devastating fire forced all 1,500 of them out of their homes. You'll meet some of them ahead.
And tonight we're going in depth on why Puerto Ricans displaced by Hurricane Maria could tip the balance on the midterm elections in Florida. Paul Hunter takes us there.
But first, Britain charges 2 Russians in a murder plot and shows the world some of the startling evidence. Last March, former Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia were poisoned in Salisbury. Today, Britain showed the world just how bold this operation was. Photos from various security cameras show the suspects' movements over the course of 3 days. Note how they make no attempt to disguise their appearance as they visit Salisbury twice. The CBC's Thomas Daigle takes a deeper look at what those cameras picked up and why Britain wants to make sure you see it.
If there's any place to blend into a crowd, it's here. London's Waterloo Station, one of Europe's busiest transit hubs, outfitted with plenty of cameras to keep an eye on all those commuters. For alleged attackers, it's a bold place to hide in plain sight.
Police say the 2 men took the train from this station to Salisbury twice, once to do research and then to carry out their attack.
Police scoured 11,000 hours of video and spotted the men arriving in London on a flight from Moscow. Traveling as Alexander Petrov and Ruslan Bashirov, authorities say those are likely fake names. They're seen walking through Salisbury just minutes before the attack. Then, an hour later, smiling on their way out of town and out the country. In the House of Commons, the Prime Minister described them as officers from Russia's military intelligence service, the GRU.
So this was not a rogue operation. It was almost certainly also approved outside the GRU at a senior level of the Russian state.
Salisbury remained cordoned off for weeks as investigators zeroed in on how the nerve agent was smeared on Sergei Skripal's front door. Now they allege it was a rigged perfume bottle with Novichok inside.
It's the perfect delivery vehicle for applying the poison to the front door of the Skripals. That's our working theory.
The bottle was found months later by this unsuspecting couple. Dawn Sturgis sprayed the substance on her wrists and died within days. Now the charges will further stoke tensions between the UK and Russia. And this observer sees Britain's revelations as a way to reassure allies who already sanctioned Moscow without all this evidence.
If London wants to keep the pressure on, wants to keep the sanctions in place, then it needs to a certain extent, keep people feeling the emotion of that.
With no real hope of extradition from Russia, it's unlikely these two will ever face justice in this country. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, London.
Now, on Thomas's last point there is one simple reason these suspects are probably home free. Russia's constitution forbids the extradition of its citizens. And for Britain, that's a familiar point of frustration. One example, in 2007, it charged Andrei Lugovoy with the murder of a Russian dissident on British soil. The weapon in that case was a radioactive poison, polonium-210. When Vladimir Putin got the extradition request, his response was dismissive in the extreme. He called the British arrogant and said they had a no-brains colonial mentality. Fast forward back to today, and the response from Moscow wasn't much different. But as Chris Brown tells us, it's not just the Kremlin expressing doubt.
The branded show openings with Theresa May and a radioactive sign suggest the Kremlin's TV stations were all ready to go with their rebuttals. The whole story, you could laugh at it endlessly, mocked the Foreign Ministry's fiery spokesperson, Maria Zakharova, as she zeroed in on the photos of the accused. Look at the photographs, she says. This is Bashirov, and here's the other guy in the same corridor at the exact same second, implying the timestamps and the photos were faked. We still keep asking them for information about their investigation, and they give us nothing, she says. They just don't want to deal with Brexit, added parliamentarian Leonid Kalishnikov, reflecting the dominant view here that an unpopular British government staged the Skripal affair as a distraction. Among the things that don't add up for many Russians, why would highly trained secret police go to so much trouble to kill a long-retired spy like Sergei Skripal and then botch the job? This investigative journalist, who's no friend of the Kremlin, has his doubts too. Eric Murtazin was jailed for a year for bad-mouthing Putin's regime. Russians could have done it, he says, but likely not the secret police. Salisbury, in a quiet town, for them it would have been easier to cut his throat and disguise it as a banal robbery rather than to use poison and put your people at risk. Commentators are also pointing out that the British labs couldn't identify where the Novichok was made. For many Russians, it all adds up to reasonable doubt that their government is responsible. Chris Brown, CBC News, Moscow.
Now let's get you up to speed on some of the other developing stories we are tracking, starting with an emergency situation unfolding in Japan after a magnitude 6.6 earthquake. There are reports tonight of people trapped and buildings collapsed after the quake struck the northern island of Hokkaido. It didn't trigger a tsunami, but it did cause widespread power outages and a major landslide in the rural town of Atsuma. There are reports of a number of homes destroyed.
Given the symptoms that we are seeing in the patients, it looks like this is probably influenza.
That's the latest from U.S. health officials on what they think caused a large group of people to fall sick on a flight from Dubai to New York. The plane was quarantined this morning as soon as it landed at JFK Airport, and 10 people were taken to hospital.
Still ahead on The National, what's next? That's the question for 1,500 people forced out of their homes after a high-rise fire in Toronto.
Plus, Paul Hunter meets the Puerto Ricans displaced by Hurricane Maria that could flip a swing state in the upcoming midterm elections.
But first, while university students across the country are working on getting along with new roommates this week, some students in Hamilton are settling in with roomies just a few years their senior.
I think Tafas was very intellectually stimulating. I think whenever we've had a couple of disagreements, but I find you like the same things I do.
It's weird to say my roommate who's 92.
First off, let's get the terms straight. Impeachment is commonly misunderstood to mean the removal of a president from office, but it's actually the process, not the result. So, how hard is it to impeach a president? Pretty hard, and that's by design. So, how does it happen? First, a sitting president needs to be formally accused of something seriously shady. In a constitution, that's treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. Next, the House of Representatives drafts and debates the charges and evidence, known as the Articles of Impeachment, and if a majority of the House votes to accept the case, the president is impeached. Now, stuff gets real, with a high-profile trial in the Senate. The president retains his or her own lawyers, the House Judiciary Committee acts as the prosecution, the Senate is the jury, there are witnesses and cross-examinations, and the whole thing is presided over by the Chief Justice of the United States. Sound like an episode of Law & Order? While impeachment proceedings may feel like a criminal trial, it's purely political. A conviction here won't land you in jail, but if 2/3 of senators decide, you will be kicked out of office with no appeal. Here's a trivia fun fact. No U.S. president has ever been removed from office via impeachment. Wait, you say? What about this guy, and this guy? Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton were impeached but were acquitted by the Senate. And Nixon, he resigned before it could happen. Side note, impeachment is not just for presidents. The U.S. House has also impeached 19 individuals, 15 federal judges, and 1 cabinet member. To summarize, impeachment is the political process of removing from office certain public officers accused of wrongdoing. The House impeaches, and the Senate conducts the trial. But if House representatives are in sync with voters, they're also going to take a good hard look at popular opinion before setting things in motion. Remember, a ton of people voted the president in.
We are driving to the bingo.
Okay.
Would you do that?
I'll drive you to bingo, sure.
That's a good start.
Okay.
All right. I have other needs, too. Watch the soaps, the quiz shows. Companionship in a film?
A clip there from My 90-Year-Old Roommate, the CBC online comedy hit about a modern-day odd couple, a young man and his grandfather, and their zany life together under the same roof. In a case of life imitating art, though, more and more programs are popping up across Canada, pairing young and old in the same household. Total strangers, poles apart in age, who each find a beneficial bond. Cass Rusi looks at one such program in Southern Ontario.
Oh, your hair looks lovely.
When these two get together, there's bound to be some laughing.
I thought that's what you were doing.
They could be old friends, yet 73-year-old Constance Jane and 27-year-old Tafadzwa Machapiza have only known each other for about a year. Brought together by a co-housing idea that's growing in popularity across Canada and the U.S.
I think Tafadzwa was very intellectually stimulating.
This project matches students, both international and local, from McMaster University, with seniors living in the community.
When I came here, I could relate to feelings of isolation because I had to learn new language, adapt to the new environment.
The idea was researcher Sumaya Abeds, inspired by her own co-housing experience when she was a student in France. She launched the program at McMaster in 2017.
So we connect students, McMaster students, who are looking for affordable housing with seniors in Hamilton who have a spare room, furnished room, and who can benefit from extra support and companionship.
I feel like I have a family away from home.
Tafadzwa was one of the lucky applicants. She's from Zimbabwe and is continuing her studies in medicine at McMaster. She lived with Constance last year, liked it so much, came back to live with her again this school year.
Yeah, if something's good, then why stop?
It's pretty much how this 23-year-old gerontology student feels about her 92-year-old roommate.
It's weird to say, my roommate who's 92.
Cara Duncan is back at Leslie Adamson's home for a second year. She's getting a break on rent in return for some light housework and a bit of companionship.
It's just one of those things. We just got on.
But it's more than just chores for Cara in exchange for a reduced rent. There's evidence that simple companionship is good for the health of seniors.
Upwards of 25% of older adults tell us they don't have a family member or friend close at hand to help them with a basic task like getting a prescription filled.
And with many seniors living alone, the health implications are profound. Loneliness, depression, anxiety. Co-housing programs can be life-saving.
It actually gives peace of mind for that older person. It gives them a greater sense of security and the ability to feel like they can maintain their independence for that much longer.
Let's see, now there were some pictures on here that I really wanted to keep.
Independence is what Constance Jane wants, but a bit of companionship is good too, because it means her home doesn't feel so empty anymore. Cass Rusi, CBC News, Hamilton, Ontario.
And next on The National, we go in depth on why Hurricane Maria could tip the balance in this fall's critical U.S. midterm elections. Paul Hunter meets some of the tens of thousands of Puerto Ricans who fled the wreckage, moved to Florida, and registered to vote.
It was inhumane. That's the way he is. He treats us indifferent. He showed his racism, you know.
My name is Jordan Bennett. I'm Mi'kmaq from Damcook, now known as Newfoundland. And I'm a visual artist. I work in a lot of mediums, including painting, sculpting, performance, and traditional Indigenous tattoo revival. So a lot of times I create a work and I might think that it might look great as a painting, and then the next thing you know, I'm doing it as a sculpture or I'm doing it as a performance. I usually let the idea kind of do whatever it needs to do. So I have a couple pieces in the exhibition at the Winnipeg Art Gallery as part of an Insurgence Resurgence. One of the pieces is a collaboration with fellow artist, Indigenous artist Dee Barcy, and we created each a painted mural element that exists in two places. One on a building on Broadway in Winnipeg, and the other version of it is a reproduction of that piece, which is on the outside of the Winnipeg Art Gallery. A lot of the quill work that I'm referencing, I really enjoy putting them in the public view. Take them out of a museum context, which is a lot of times where we see a lot of these pieces now. I was not expecting this. I did not expect to walk into the room and see this piece. The first time I ever saw this piece was in a book wrote by Ruth Holmes Whitehead, and seeing this, it's kind of like seeing a painting that you've loved your entire life, but then you see it in person and it just kind of rattles your skull a little bit. I think the only way to learn more about these things is to actually spend time with them. Because I feel like the longer you spend time with something or someone or some place, the more you learn about it, and the more you learn about them, more yourself. So this piece is just next level. When I create an artwork that's larger than life, like quill work, and I blow it up, it does confront you, and it does make you question the history, and it's more in your face. A lot of times folks see them and they think that they're these, you know, contemporary artworks in a sense, you know, like that's how they exist and that's all they are. But there's so much embedded history of the designs that are based on landscape, stories and journeys that have taken place for hundreds and thousands of years on this land in Mi'kmaq. Another piece that I'm a part of in the exhibition is alongside of fellow artists Amy Malbuff and Dion Kaz, is called Earthline Tattoo Collective. With the assistance of the Winnipeg Art Gallery, we created a tattoo shop within the art gallery itself. And it was a wonderful experience to share the methods of traditional Indigenous tattooing through hand poke and skin stitch. I think that the work that I'm trying to do is a way of continuing, and also a way of paying homage and honor to the artists and artisans that came before and allowed these forms to exist in the world, you know, like they created them. And to be able to add to that dialogue using new materials like zip ties, or through murals, or through a variety of contemporary materials that I have access to, I think is a way of reawakening a lot of these designs that have been sleeping for a while.
Hurricane Florence is picking up speed over the Atlantic, shaping up to be the first major storm of this hurricane season. It's expected to threaten the U.S. coast by late next week. But before that, Puerto Rico could feel its wrath, which would merely intensify the anger of its people. A year ago this month, Hurricane Maria became the worst natural disaster in Puerto Rico's history. Nearly 3,000 people killed and countless lives made miserable. As a U.S. territory, Puerto Rico expected help, but instead felt abandoned. Well, as many as 75,000 people fled to Florida, where they are now able to vote in the U.S. midterm elections, and it may be time for some payback. Paul Hunter has tonight's dispatch from Kissimmee.
It absolutely isn't your typical way to get out the vote. But for Puerto Ricans living in Florida, it's not only a ton of fun, it's vital. The lyrics: don't stay home come election day, don't let them take your vote away.
This is the first opportunity after Maria to really make sure that the people in the state, the people that can vote for Congress, we can send a clear message to the Republican majority that what they did to Puerto Rico was not acceptable.
What's deemed unacceptable is the U.S. federal government's response when Puerto Rico was devastated by Hurricane Maria last year. American aid to this American territory came slowly, and in the eyes of so many, it fell shamefully short.
Flashlights, you don't need them anymore.
When Donald Trump visited 2 weeks after the storm, he left a lasting and ridiculed image. Into that crowd of desperately needy fellow Americans, the president tossed paper towels, roll by roll.
Arriba! Arriba! Arriba Puerto Rico!
The next month, a giant demonstration in Washington, with Puerto Ricans underlining they'll not soon forget
Today we say enough!
Or forgive Trump and his Republican Party. Now, here in Florida, with those midterm elections looming, even though Trump himself isn't on the ballot, in the ever politically key state of Florida, it's payback time.
This is the time to move from your chair to the voting booth and make sure that, as President Obama used to say, don't boo, vote.
Here's the thing. After Hurricane Maria struck the island, tens of thousands moved to Central Florida, adding to the state's already huge Puerto Rican population.
And we're going to work on practice 8.
Trying to fit in, not least by learning the language.
Dog.
They bring with them the power of U.S. citizenship. Remember, Puerto Rico's U.S. territory, but those who live back on the island cannot vote for president or Congress. Once here in Florida, they're eligible to vote as soon as they step foot on the ground.
Hola, buenos días. ¿Te hago una pregunta, nena?
Now, volunteers in Florida are working hard to get as many registered as possible. Here, outside another grocery store in Kissimmee, shoppers are approached and asked, "Did you sign up?" Indeed, among those they've added to the state's voting list already, some 10,000 Puerto Ricans. This man needed an absentee ballot. They made it happen on the spot. Meanwhile, at a nearby Puerto Rican diner where the mofongo is delicious and the anti-Trump feelings run deep, these Puerto Ricans, all veterans of the U.S. military, staged a Facebook Live, pressing others to register. And if you flip on the TV, you might well see Oscar-winning actress Rita Moreno, another Puerto Rican in the U.S., urging likewise.
This election is in your hands. We can do this.
The push for Puerto Rican votes never stops.
So describe the morning after or the day after when you went out
into your neighborhood. Describe what you saw in Puerto Rico.
Destruction everywhere.
Claudia Baez Sola, now at Orlando's Valencia College, is among the many thousands who fled Puerto Rico last year. She came to symbolize the Trump response that fell short when a Democratic congressman invited her to Washington for January's State of the Union address.
I was there representing my country, I was there representing my island, and I was there representing my people.
And what is your message to Donald Trump?
And the thing is that Puerto Rico still needs help. And now that I'm here, I feel like I can't turn my back on Puerto Rico. And to me, it's very important that Puerto Rico actually has the opportunity to get up and restart. So yeah, that's my message.
Now registered to vote in Florida, she hopes Puerto Ricans here, both freshly landed and those who've been in the state for generations, are now set to vent at the ballot box.
We are part of that movement. We're going to make that change. But people need to actually get out there, get registered, and to vote. Because the only way we're going to make that change is if we actually go there and we actually vote.
And if by now you're wondering, so what do politicians think? Check this. They call it political salsa. Put on by Puerto Ricans in Florida, it's a chance for some mingling that matters. Voters and candidates mix it up.
Uno, dos, tres.
With Republicans hoping the Trump brand is still somehow a winner, while Democrats wonder, will traditionally conservative Puerto Ricans now turn their way? And though there's a fun aspect to the whole thing,
Hashtag Justin Bieber wig turned backwards.
the real message here is a serious one. Puerto Rican votes in Florida now matter more than ever, and politicians know it.
Vamos a ayudar a la gente de Puerto Rico.
That's former Miami Beach Mayor Democrat Philip Levine, just arrived.
What we've done in Florida is we've opened up, we had 2 relief centers.
And inside, current Governor Republican Rick Scott on the ballot this fall for the U.S. Senate. Scott's personally popular. He gets credit for helping displaced Puerto Ricans settle in Florida, but Republicans broadly are a harder sell. To that key question, would you now ever vote for Trump's party?
No, never. Never in my life.
This is a means to an end.
It's Puerto Rican music to the ears of Democrats.
It's our job to make sure that the Puerto Rican community understands that the Republicans are supporting Trump, who was disastrous for the island, and that the Democrats are holding him accountable. And that message needs to be crystal clear.
Yeah, I take it. If you're Puerto Rican in Central Florida, you come here, right?
Exactly. You want
coffee with milk?
Un café con leche.
Ricardo Lockwood fled Puerto Rico for Florida 10 days after the hurricane. When we reminded him about that time Trump tossed those paper towels,
it was inhumane. That's the way he is. He treats us indifferent. He showed his racism, you know.
A motivator this fall for Puerto Ricans who, despite their right to vote here, have often in the past stayed home on U.S. election days.
They have to get out, they have to register, they have to vote, and they have to express themselves and make sure that we make a difference and we make America great again.
And so the push is on.
Wherever people are gathering, we're gonna go there with our music, with our message, and we're gonna win, and we're gonna win big.
Pressing Puerto Ricans in Florida to rise up, reminding them that voting matters. This is their chance. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Kissimmee, Florida.
So we are just a few days shy of the first anniversary of Hurricane Maria hammering Puerto Rico, a story we've been watching very closely from day one.
We're on our way to Barranquita, which is one of the most hard-hit areas in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. And as you can see, we had to stop and get out of our vehicle because the main bridge that takes us through the town has collapsed.
That was our very own Joanna Remiliotis on the ground there, bringing us an early look at the misery and damage inflicted by Maria. And Joanna is returning to Puerto Rico to report on what's changed and, more importantly, what hasn't during the last 12 months. So watch for that. But in the meantime, you can see her documentary, Looking for Light, by going online to our YouTube page, youtube.com/CBC The National.
And next on The National, 650 Parliament Street was just another address in Toronto. But 2 weeks after a devastating fire forced its 1,500 residents out of their homes, it's now become synonymous with strength and resilience. Nick Purdon meets up with some people dealing with upended lives by keeping community bonds tight.
These all are things for the people of 650. These things are especially for kids who are going to start the school soon, and we really hope these might give little help to them.
255. That is how many movies are at the Toronto International Film Festival this year. I have taken that list and somehow whittled it down to 5 films that I cannot wait to see. The most anticipated movie at TIFF has to be one that Hollywood has already made multiple times. It's called A Star is Born. Maybe you know the version from 1976 with Barbra Streisand and Chris Christopherson. Well, now there's a new movie starring Bradley Cooper as a country crooner who discovers a new start. Now, this movie has a couple wild cards. One is Cooper. Are you going to accept him as the country crooner? He seems to have the drawl down, that country voice.
Maybe it's time to let the old ways down.
But also, the young woman he discovers, Lady Gaga herself. Now, we know that Gaga can belt it out, but can she act?
I just don't feel comfortable.
The one movie I'm most excited to see, Widows, by director Steve McQueen. TIFF is a bit of a tastemaker. The People's Choice Award has a history of being a great Oscars predictor. And so a few years ago, you remember that remarkable film, 12 Years a Slave? That was directed by Steve McQueen. Now McQueen is back in a new movie, and what seems so exciting about Widows, it takes what McQueen does as a director, where he makes these movies with this artful urgency, this throbbing emotion and power, but now he's playing around with a crime story, a movie about women who are in peril, who have to fight back. There are bank robbing sequences. The idea of McQueen taking on that kind of genre and wedding the action with the urgency, cannot wait. Now, I don't have much to show you about the next movie I cannot wait to see, because Mouthpiece is itself a bit of a mystery. This was originally a play, and actually Jodie Foster brought this play to LA, where it became a sensation, and now the Canadian director, Patricia Rozma, is making it into a movie. It features 2 actors playing the same woman, basically playing the different voices in that woman's head. If Rozma can bring that vision to the screen, could be amazing. This is from years and years and years of skateboards grinding across it. A scene just like this is what you'll find in the new movie directed by Jonah Hill. It's called Mid-90s. It's set in California's skate culture, and it looks from the trailer to be a coming-of-age story of one kid, little shorter than the rest, doesn't quite fit in, working on his tricks, and suddenly he kind of has this crew around him, still fighting with his brother.
They're ghetto-ass friends.
This is a very personal story, perhaps inspired by Jonah Hill's own youth growing up on the West Coast. And the fact that Jonah Hill, one of the most interesting actors working today now, as a director, showing us a movie about skate culture, cannot wait to see. This is the true life story of Neil Armstrong, and it is called First Man because it's about him becoming the first man to walk on the moon. Canadian superstar Ryan Gosling is teaming up again with the director Damien Chazelle. And Chazelle says he has something very different in mind for this movie. He wants to get the details and the dangers right. He's been watching a lot of documentaries. It also stars Claire Foy as Armstrong's wife, Janet Armstrong. But does Gosling have the right stuff to play this legend? TIFF is where we'll see. That is my top 5 films to watch.
Tonight on The National, a bit of good news after that devastating fire at Brazil's National Museum. Officials have confirmed that centuries-old Torah scrolls, considered to be some of Judaism's oldest documents, are safe. They were not in the museum at the time of the fire. But as for the rest of the artifacts, officials say as much as 90% of the collection was destroyed.
It's unacceptable that children and educators and education workers are faced with these abysmal conditions day after day after day.
And a record-breaking heat wave got political today in Toronto. Parents and opposition politicians called on the Ontario government to fix overheated schools. Most schools in the Toronto District School Board are not fully air-conditioned. And with the temperature today hitting a record-smashing 34 degrees, some parents say their kids are having a hard time coping.
Who can believe it's September and that's still happening? It's been a little more than 2 weeks now since a 6-alarm fire forced residents out of a high-rise apartment in Toronto. The cause of the damage to that 22-story building is thought to be a faulty electrical system. And while thankfully no one was killed, many of the 1,500 residents, including young children, suddenly found themselves with nowhere to stay and few possessions. The neighborhood remains one of the few pockets of relatively affordable housing for families in downtown Toronto. And tonight, our Nick Purdon tries to find out what a fire does to people's lives when they have no place to call home.
If you're one of the 1,500 people who lived in the building at 650 Parliament Street, this is what your life is like since the fire.
So there's the elevator now?
Tenants come and grab whatever they can from their apartments to try to put their lives back together.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Her art was the first thing Joanna Granados took from her place.
This is my income. This is what I do for living.
She and her husband Alex Tolson rent a 1-bedroom on the 5th floor.
We also picked up some winter stuff, gloves, hats, because they say it's going to be a couple months.
Yeah, the big deal is we have no idea how long this is going to take.
Which one is it?
It's the one with the flowers.
One with the flowers, number 5.
There is no place like home, you know. We miss the apartment very much. Every time I come or say bye or hi, I miss you, apartment, because we miss our home.
What have you learned about your husband?
We are together in this. Yeah, we have supported each other.
You learn what's important pretty quick.
Yeah.
Maria Daniel tells me what she's learned from the fire is just how important her apartment is to her. She's shared a 1-bedroom with a friend for 18 years.
So now, what's life like now?
We're going from place to place to place to place. We try to get hotels, but in order to get one, you need a credit card or something, but we don't have that.
You don't have a credit card?
No. So we're stuck. Sorry, we're about to cry.
It's okay. What makes you cry?
This whole mess and not knowing what's going to happen next.
Maria's not alone. She's just one of many tenants struggling to find places to stay. And Maria will tell you that her apartment more or less kept her life together. Now all she sees is uncertainty. And in a nutshell, that's the story for everyone here.
Where am I going? Where are my kids are going?
Though Azalej Boyana doesn't just have herself to worry about. Show me which one's your place.
So it's 4th floor where the mop is hanging, and under you might see like kids' toys and my son's bike. That is my unit.
And standing here, what's it like to look up there?
It makes me emotional, really. Like, you know, that is the house that I lived for 4 years, and both of my kids were born there, and now like I am homeless, I feel like, and that is really hard.
And what are you gonna do? Where are you gonna go?
I have nowhere to go. I don't know. I have nowhere to go. We might end up on the street.
What's amazing is finding a place to live isn't even Azalich's top priority. She spends her day a few buildings over, collecting donations for the hundreds of kids from 650 Parliament Street who started school without being in their homes.
These all are things for the people of 650. These things are especially for kids who are going to start the school soon, and we really hope these might give little help to them.
Like 9-year-old Pema, who plays with her little sister under the watchful eye of her dad.
This is so
650 Parliament Street is the only home Pema's ever known. She's starting grade 4, and she still doesn't know how she's going to get to school. That's what she's worried about.
I might be late every single day. That's why I don't really like, because then I have to get a late slip, and that's why I don't like getting. Because then it goes on your report card, and then I don't really like getting late to school, because I miss lessons and stuff.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
A doctor.
Dr. Pema. Nobody can tell Pema when she's going to get back into the building, or any of the other tenants for that matter.
Careful, okay, Pema.
And that's what gets at Jonathan Bakai from apartment 416.
A part of me feels like I really want to fight this. I feel like I want to achieve some form of justice for me and my fellow tenants. I'm looking forward to learning more about legal processes, and I feel like it'll make me a smarter person in the future, just for anything I have to deal with in this world.
It's that one with the Superman symbol. Oh.
It's as if Jonathan has turned the fire into an opportunity, because it's taught him why his apartment means so much to him.
It was my first place that was just mine. I got it all myself. No one helped me. It's my place. Dress it up how I want with superheroes. Even though I'm 33, I still love them.
You could use a little Superman right now, I guess.
Yeah, the tenants of 650 Parliament could definitely use a Superman, but we don't have a Superman in this situation, so we kind of have to bind together and help each other, and I'm hoping that I can do whatever I can to help everybody.
You know, when we hear about a fire, it's easy to focus on the tragedy. But the story of the tenants of 650 Parliament Street is also one of resilience and strength. Let's hope they get back home. Nick Purdon, CBC News, Toronto.
The City of Toronto says it's doing what it can to help displaced residents, although it has no obligation to because it isn't a city-owned building. 2 law firms say they've started a class action lawsuit on behalf of all the tenants against the building management and Toronto Hydro.
Next on The National, our moment of the day. A congressman goes on a tear when a woman tries to interrupt a hearing on social media in the U.S.
Cut 3 1/4 now, half, 3 1/2. Instead of 5, 400. Yeah, but a 4, 4 1/4, 4 1/2. We're selling the cell phone there.
Well, that's one way to deal with a heckler. The full story behind that moment coming up next.
But first, we want to give you a preview of something coming up on The National this Sunday. He made headlines as the lawyer defending Stormy Daniels.
You're a little bit all over the place these days. Hard to miss.
Earlier this week, I met up with the man who has emerged as one of the most vocal opponents of the president.
Donald Trump is inept at a lot of things. He's also brilliant at a number of things.
And asked him if he's serious about taking a run against Trump in 2020.
Absolutely. I mean, do you think Donald Trump wants to face me on a debate stage? I don't think so.
That's this Sunday night on The National.
Welcome back. Congressional hearings on Capitol Hill today were a little goofy. Let me set the scene for you. Facebook's #2 executive and Twitter's CEO were testifying before a U.S. House committee about responsible social media. But at a time when censorship of extreme views is a pretty hot topic, listen to this hallway confrontation between conspiracy theorist Alex Jones and Republican Senator Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio the snake. Little frat boy here.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Who are you, man?
Yeah,
Who's
sure.
This guy? I swear to God, I don't
you
know
better
who
hope
you
you
are,
get
man.
deplatforming. Tens of millions of views.
InfoWars.
Bigger than Rush
InfoWars.
Limbaugh. He knows who InfoWars is.
but do
Playing
you-
this joke over here. That's why the deplatforming didn't work.
And that was just one sideshow. Inside the hearing, another right-wing activist, Laura Loomer, tried to disrupt things, tried being the operative word, and that is our moment of the day.
Ma'am, if you'll please take a seat, or we'll have to have you. Then you'll need to
President
relieve.
Donald Trump, help us. Please help us, Mr. President, before it is too late.
The point she's trying to make, that social media companies like Twitter are censoring pro-Trump points of view. But Congressman Billy Long was having none of it.
What'd she say? I can't understand her. What? How about it in? 12 and a half.
And he's off. In case you're wondering, yes, of course, he's worked as a professional auctioneer for years, even made Missouri's Auctioneer Hall of Fame.
400. Yeah, but a 4, 4 and a quarter, 4 and a half. We're selling the cell phone.
And very shortly after Long recaptured the room's attention, call it gibberish one-upmanship, Laura Loomer left the building. And not that he didn't already have the last word, but the congressman let loose one final zinger.
I yield back.
I'm guessing she didn't have a comeback for that. And,
I guess not.
you know, there's lots of ways to deal with people who are trying to make a political point or a point about, I guess, free speech in this case. I think that's probably my favorite so far.
Right. And I mean, if the congressman's reaction did come as a bit of a surprise, I would say that, I mean, the original outburst should not have, right? I mean, Laura Loomer, she's cut herself quite a controversial figure. Twitter stripped her of her, you know, the blue check mark at a time when it was stripping users of that verification status for advocating for white supremacy or for identifying as a Nazi. And so she certainly has a beef with Twitter, so no surprise that it came at this setting.
Okay, that's the National for Wednesday, September 5th. At issue tomorrow, one last plug. Come on, I can, right?
Excited.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.